Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. My name is Sir Cowdog, and this is Forest of Fallen Giants, Part 2, on the Scholar of the First Sin, Deathless Run, combination also guide for new and returning players. So, last time I ran through the intro area of Forest of Fallen Giants. Now I'm going to get some cleanup of the middle part of the level, starting with right up the stairs from the bonfire. There's a door here which says locked, but as you can see, the door is kind of broken up, so that means I can break through it. And here we have a crystal lizard. Couple of swipes there. The thing with the crystal lizards is they're so low to the ground, a lot of weapons have trouble hitting them. So if you've got the short sword or really any other straight sword, you kind of have to just position them. If this chest was the crystal lizard, you have to run along the side, so when you swing, the downward chop hits. You can kind of see where the spot on the ground hits to your left. That's where you want the crystal lizard to be. Don't lock on, it'll make it much, much harder to hit. Alright, some repair powder, a hand axe, which is actually not a bad weapon to start out with. Low level weapon that's pretty good. And just on the other side of the door is, as usual, every corpse that does not have loot, you can safely assume is a bad guy. Some free loot. And then right off of the edge here is some more loot. Now, what you want to do is, if you can see this square tile directly in front of me, you kind of want to line that corner of that up with the root. And then slowly walk off, and it should drop you right onto the loot. Just be careful that you don't end up to the left here and fall down the hole with the ladder. That is a fatal distance to fall. You will die and have to go back to the bonfire. Alright. Next little side area is back out through the double doors. Take care of this guy that tries to ambush you every time you come out here. And then right off of this edge here is the next area. As you can see, plunge attack just doesn't work. Virtually every time I've tried to plunge attack in this game, it's ended up with me in a worse situation. I really, really can't speak enough about how bad it is. Okay. Human FG. Slowly fall off right here. Wait for this guy to figure out the pathway. Careful not to fall off the roots. You can survive this fall, but you'll just take some damage, so. Alright, next up you want to position yourself right here at the fork of the two branches. Aim down to the end of this one like so. Sprint and jump right at the top of the curve, and you'll land right here on the loot, which is just some prison stones. Very, very skippable. Oops. Take care of all of these guys. Okay. Up there is a turtle knight. Right here is a turtle knight. This guy will actually try to fall on you. Be careful when you come in here. But when he falls down, you can punish him. Lots of damage. And you should be able to get the final 2 hits in before he even swings. Giving you the foot soldier shield, which, if I remember right, is not very good. Only 60% physical reduction. More of a parry shield than anything, but you've already got the buckler from earlier, so So, Turtle Knights are very dangerous. I highly recommend you get in one hit and then roll away. One hit, roll away. Let your stamina recover. This is the safest way to do this. Now, if you do enough damage later on, you don't have to play those little games with them. You can just beat them down in between swings. But for now, you do have to just get one hit and then escape. If you get greedy and try to get a second hit, chances are the Turtle Knight is going to smash you with that giant hammer. I'll let you learn that the hard way if you need to. Okay, down the cave here, you can see the crystal lizard. Not crystal lizard, the fire lizard. Fire lizards always shoot 3 fireballs. And just like archers, they shoot where you are moving, not where you are, so you can use that to run into the wall to manipulate where his fireballs go, giving you the chance to get in here. Oops. Even if you screw up, as long as you don't take 2 hits in a row. Excuse me. As long as you don't take 2 hits in a row, you should be fine. Alright, speaking of fire, fire longsword. Very, very slight upgrade from the short sword. But with the starting stats, I can't have enough strength to use it in one hand, so I would have to use this as 2 hands. So I tend to keep this as a backup to my short sword in case I've run out of durability. But that's this whole area, so Homeward Bone to save us a trip. So quick note about using Homeward Bones in Dark Souls 2. Unlike Dark Souls 3, when you Homeward Bone, while it does take you back to the bonfire, in Dark Souls 2 you still have to manually choose to rest. It's kind of dumb, I don't know why, but that's just how it works. Alright. Next part, down the ladder. There is this guy right here, waiting to ambush you. As soon as your back is turned, fighting this guy. So, take him out first, take this guy out second, and then take this guy out third. Now, I'll show you the ambush here because you can hit him on the ground, but he triggers when you try to pick up this loot. You can see how the game tries to trick you by getting you to focus on loot first, while an enemy sneaks up behind you. It's a pretty common theme in Dark Souls games. Distract with the shiny, stab you in the back. Okay. This part of the game has many, many archers. You got one guy up there on the wall. You can see him turn to look. One guy down there behind the ladder. One guy directly above me that I can't see from this angle. That guy on the roof. And one guy right over there. Now they're going to all be shooting at you as long as you're in this area. So, lots of zigzag. Stay on the move, and you should be fine. So this guy, you want to get just close enough so he pulls his dagger out and then retreat. You do not want to fight him on that narrow strip of land. Chances are you're going to fall off into the water and die. So, best to play it safe. Alright, you might be tempted to run up the ramp to get at that guy, but that is dangerous. As you can see, both archers will shoot at me. The actual way to do this is to run up the route here to about right at this spot. Drop down here and get this guy first. Run over here and jump. Stop halfway through here to wait for the boulder to roll past. Now if you're playing online, chances are very, very good over here you're going to start seeing messages that say secret or treasure below, try jumping, something like that. But if you look closely, you'll also see a bunch of bloodstains. That is a good indication that those are liars. There's no treasure, only death down there. So, all right, here we have Cale, the cartographer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
See if I can get a zoom in on his face. There we go.
Daydreaming, I think.
So, exhaust Cale's dialogue, and he will give you a key to the locked house back in Majula.
Yeah, then what? Wonderful.
House key.
What a joy.
You want to keep talking to him until he says...
I'll be back in Majula soon. Perhaps we will meet again and discuss maps at our leisure.
And that is the end of his dialogue. Down this hallway, and get revenge on the archer. And back the way we came. This time I can go up the ladder and get revenge on the other archer. Alright, that just leaves the one up there on the top of the wall. But before I go there, now I can head up the ramp and fight this guy. And the reason for doing that is because right over here is access to these Titanite shards. Or Titanite Shard, singular. Okay, that is everything here. Back up the ladder. Top off my hit points. And now all the way up the route to the next section. So break those things like that, but leave these 3 sets of barrels. What you want to do is get back to your throwing knives, target the Turtle Knight to get his attention, unlock from him, get ready to run, and as soon as he starts swinging, sprint away. And you can hit him with melee or throw another knife. It's up to you. Leave one of these barrels here and take this guy out with the throwing knives. Alright, up this ladder is your first encounter with the Pursuer. Now it may be tempting to watch his superhero entrance as he's flown in and airdropped by a giant eagle, but what I'm going to recommend is you run up here and immediately go and take out these sleeping soldiers so that you don't have to fight them all at once. That guy, then this guy. And then run away from the boss like a dirty coward. Because Dark Souls is not about being fair or honorable, it's about defeating the levels. The Pursuer will peace out, like so, leaving you free to fight the only last guy here and collect loot. More repair powder. Most importantly though, an Estus Flask Shard. Okay. So, if you'll remember that firebomb I bought a little while ago, break that out and throw it at these barrels. which opens the shortcut back to the bonfire. Now, since Cale gave me a key to the house back in Majula, I'm going to go do that right now. But first, I'm going to open up the Blacksmith Shop, grab the short bow,
Ah yes, very good. Now I can get to work. But first, let me set up. Come again later.
So to get him to move from his spot there outside, all you have to do is rest at the bonfire. Okay, so the blacksmith sells a number of pretty good starting weapons. Longsword, broadsword, falchion, etc., etc., etc. Here's the mace that I mentioned earlier. It's a very good weapon, but for this playthrough I'm actually going to use the battle axe. As I mentioned at the very, very beginning, this is going to be a strength build. Now if you want, you can also buy some arrows. It's up to you if you want to use ranged combat or not. There's repair powder and Titanite shards for upgrades, so if you want to farm some souls, you can upgrade your weapon pretty quickly. But before you do that, we already have quite a few in our inventory from the farming we've been doing. So, reinforced battle axe once, twice,
I'll be around if you...
and there are 3 more that I'm going to get from the house. So, when I equipped the battle axe, you may have noticed it said that I can't use it with my current stats. The reason why it says that is because if you'll notice, when I use it with one hand, it has a little red X on it. That means I'm not strong enough to equip it with one hand, but two-hand, the X goes away, it means I'm good to go. Whenever you two-hand a weapon, you get time and a half your normal strength values as far as equipment requirements. So my character has 9 strength, but the requirement to use the axe is only 15, so it rounds up a little bit there and gives me the ability to use it. Alright, in here, I'm going to grab a Pharaoh's Lockstone. Excuse me. You can never have enough Pharaoh's Lockstones. They're useful all over the game. And actually, early on, they're fairly limited in where and when you can get them. This, by the way, is the map that Cale mentions earlier. He will eventually show up right here. Might take an hour or so of actual in-game play. Okay, down here is a skeleton. Now, skeletons are normally kind of chump enemies, but early on you don't really have a lot of hit points, so that guy can actually be a little bit dangerous. If he hits you, he's going to take about a third of your hit points per hit, so be very, very careful. But if you defeat him, you get the treasure chest, which has a soul vessel. It's an item used to respec your stats back at the 3 old ladies where you made your character. And the other thing we picked up was an Estus flask shard, bringing my total heal charges up to 4. And I'll need to stop by the Emerald Herald to upgrade those in just a little bit. But, as I mentioned earlier, grab these 3 Titanite shards, allowing me to upgrade the battle axe one more time.
You again?
Okay, reinforce. And you'll notice that's the furthest you can take the weapon with regular Titanite shards. The next set of upgrades requires large Titanite shards.
I'll be around if you make it back.
Is that a shard you found? Here, let me see it. To see light. however faint it might be.
I'm going to upgrade this twice, giving me the total of 4. And with these leftover souls that I've got, I think I'm going to level up just a little bit. I can finally raise my maximum hit points.
There.
Because 4 vigor is kind of a scary place to be at. 9 is not much better, but it is still better. Okay. So, with a +3 weapon and a couple more hit points, I'm going to cut the video there. The last part is going to cover both of the final bosses and a couple of more areas with some loot. So, as usual guys, this has been pretty good so far, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.